Hello and welcome to the first lecture regarding change management. In this initial or introductory lecture, we are going to discuss some of the important and fundamental topics in relation to change management. So let's proceed to our first lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss regarding what's change management, reasons of change, both internal reasons and external reasons. So let's proceed to the first topic for the day. At first, we're going to define what's change. But before we're going to the definition of the change, we have to discuss that we are discussing change management in relation to organization. So the first question to be answered, what is organization? Organization is a structure or a group of people or unit of people who are working together in order to achieve the sole goals. So now let's come to a change. That what is change which occurs in organizations? Change is an alteration, means a variation in a company's strategy. When we are talking about the organization, so organization has lots of elements like employees, like the structure of the organization, the resources of the organization, the strategies of the organization. So now we have to discuss that the organizational structure or the organizational environment and strategies. These are not the constant elements. They are changing. With the change in the internal or external environment of the business, the organization has to adopt the changes, both internally and externally. So when we say that change is an alteration of a company's strategy, why the companies are changing their strategies? Because of what? With the current strategies, they are not capable anymore to target the markets and to achieve their goals and objectives. For example, outside of the organization, in the external environment of the organization, there are some forces like customers, like suppliers, like competitors, and there are some other forces. While these forces are changing, the external environment of the business is changing, so the company has to develop and create, implement, formulate some new strategies in order to deal with that changing circumstances or environment of the business. For example, if a change occurs in the external environment of the business, like a change in the taste of the customer, automatically the company has to bring change in its strategy in order to produce the services and products which can fulfill the new taste of the customer. We say that organization culture. What is the culture of the organization? Each organization has its personality or experiences or expectation, the way they work, the way they are arranging or designing the working condition. So now that culture time to time can be changed due to several reasons. The structure of the organization. Inside the organization, the structure. When we're discussing the structure, so it might be the working structure or the management structure. In these managerial structures and working structures, time to time they are changing, and those changes should be managed by the manager. So now, we have to say one thing, that change is inevitable. This is something which is unstoppable. Change can occur for several reasons. Maybe due to the internal reasons of the organization, maybe change inside the organizational structure, change may happen in the strategy, change may happen in the employees, or maybe the external forces, they are forcing or pushing the organization for a change. In every situation or circumstances, a change can occur. But now, how to manage it? This is the responsibility of a manager, and this shows the efficiency in professionalism of a manager, that how effectively and how good a manager is managing the change, which is helping the organization to reduce the negative impact of the change and to improve the organizational current state. As we mentioned before, that there are two forces or there are two environments in which the business is operating. One, the internal environment, which is more in control of the business, and the second one, the external environment. So these two environments, they have direct and indirect impact on the business. So we are going to discuss these two environments in detail later on. Now let's come to a topic. It says that change management is both a process and a competency. How? Why we say it's a process? Because change follows some processes, some steps, and it uses some tools and techniques. It's not a single activity. For example, if an organization is introducing a change, so organization at first should prepare itself for the change. Then the organization introduce the change, managing it and maintain the change. So that's why we say that change management is a process and it is using some tools and techniques in order to manage the change. From other hand, we say that it is a competency. Competency means that those leaders and managers or change agents who are involved in the process of bringing a change, or they are leading the change journey of the organization. So it shows their competency. It shows their abilities and skills. It talks about that how the leaders and managers' abilities and skills can meet the requirements of a change and how effectively they are leading the people in this journey in order to bring the change in organization. Now let's come to the topic that what is a change management. So a simple answer for it, change management is one of the branch of management. It deals with the changes inside the organization or outside of the organization. But at first, we say that change management is the process of monitoring changes. So در قدم اول باید change management या change agent या خود change management के monitoring میکنه changes مراقبت changes میکنه the internal or external environment. And after monitoring the changes, the change management deals with that they have to introduce the changes and evaluate the changes. These changes may be in the organizational structure of a company. Change management involves individual. Okay, the change management or the change may happen in individual forms. It means, it may just, affect an individual person, or maybe change in the human resource or technology, or the structure of the company itself. But in any aspect, whenever a change is happening in the organization, so the change management is dealing that change in the workplace and also efficiently managing that change in order to reduce the negative impact and improve the current state of the organization and help the organization to improve its operation more and more. From other side, we can say that the term change management is used to describe that a task of managing the change. Zamane ke change management, that's called change management, or we can say that this is an area of a professional practice. It means change management is not like a kind of a routine or a simple activity. It's a professional practice, or it's a professional discipline which needs professional people in order to manage the change in organization. And now it become like a body of knowledge. The people, they are just gaining degrees, certificates, in this field, that how to bring or initiate the change. And also the change management needs for some mechanism, for some control, for some skills in order to bring and adopt the change. Basically in management, because this is the large body of knowledge, in management there are lots of fields like marketing management, strategic management, principles of management. But by itself, a change management is the advanced course of management which deals with the changes inside the organization and also outside of the organization. Now we're going to discuss the reasons for change. Why the organizations, they want to bring changes. So sometime the organization itself want to bring change, and sometime the environments, they are forcing the organization to bring. We can say that some changes are implemented inside the organization due to the internal problems with the organizational structure. Maybe goals are changing, the objectives of the organizations are changing, the organizational, they are changing the strategies, maybe the change in the employees are rotated. So some changes can happen within the organization, and those changes are more in control of the managers. But most of the time, we can say that the other changes occur in organization due to the external factors. There are lots of external elements and factors and forces which push the organization for change. We will discuss all those forces, inshallah, in detail. And also we can say that sometimes the organization itself want to bring changes to improve their operations, which help them to improve the quality of their products and services. Or sometimes the organizational resources even push the organization for bringing change. For example, if we can say that these days it's a better example that most of the companies or the businesses, they are in crisis. So lack of resources is one of the crises for them. What they do, they are applying a strategy in order to downsize. They're just removing some of the employees, or they're just terminating some of the employees. Because of what? They are just trying to minimize the number of employees they have. Because of what? Because of the lack of the resources. So even lack of resources can bring a change for the organization. Now, reasons for change, as we mentioned before, that there are internal and external reasons for change. We will discuss each of them in detail. At first, let's talk about the external reasons. External factors are those which fall outside of the organizational environment. External reasons या दलाइल की the environment بیرونی یک اداره قرار داره و او را ما قبلا ذکر کردیم که competitors می باشه، customers may basha, suppliers may basha, regulatory agencies may basha, economical factors may basha in etc. But we have to mention that these factors are not much in control of the management. It means management can't do much with these factors. These factors can immensely affect the operations of the business. Normally, these external factors are beyond the control of the managers. قبل ما گفتیم که زیادتر control management نمی باشه. But good managers might reduce the negative impact. Yeah, we mentioned before that change management or change agent, they are the specialized people. They know the practices. They have like a great understanding and experience of change. What they can do, they can just reduce that impact or that influence that comes because of the change on the organization. But they cannot totally or 100% avoid the negative impact of the change. In the external environment, the first element which causes changes to the organization is the political factor. So political and legal factor is one of the external force which cause change in the organization plan in policy. How? Like for example, you know that there are some of the countries, European countries, maybe South Asian or Asian countries, that they have business allies or they have business relationships. Those countries which are just grouped and they have business ties or business relationships with each other, so they have some relaxed rules and regulations for each other. But while third party is doing business in their country, so the rules and regulations for them are very strict. Like the international politics affect trade and business. Countries receive the status of favorite nations in highly divided world today. So as I mentioned before, that there are some trade partnerships or some trade relationships that trade relationship is just created because of the political factors or political reasons. بعض ممالک هستند که وادا بین خود که هستند روابط تجارتیشان بسیار قوی می باشه و از اونم خاطر هستند که تجارت در بین واقع هستند رشد بسیار زیاد میکنه و سر دیگر کمپانیا که هستند تاثیر منفی داره و مجبور هستند که از خاطر political factors changes بیاره در strategy خود یا the organization code. Recently, we can give the example that some of the crisis happened. Even Pakistan stopped some of the goods that Afghanistan was sending to Pakistan. So mostly it happens. Mostly it happens that political influence happens on the organization, and they have to bring that change because of the political factor. Technological factor. We mentioned before that technology is rapidly improving. The innovation in technology are quite a lot. It happens, on we can say that on regular basis. So from one aspect, technology is helping the organization. It improves their operation. It eases their work, and it improves their communication system. But from the other side, it brings some negative changes or negative impacts on the organization. When there is a change in technology, so the organization organizations have to adopt those changes. اگر वो तगीरात adopt ना करना, so definitely they won't be able to deal with the competitive situation in the market. But if they are adopting to the changes in the technology, so it costs them much money, right, from one aspect. From other aspect, the technological changes inside the organization, so organization has to just give more trainings to the employees in order to make them familiar with the change in the technology. So that's why it's a kind of like a problematic process for the organization, which happens due to the technological factors. The next point is the economic factors. مشکلات اقتصادی یا فاکتور اقتصادی است که در اقتصاد هم ups and downs می باشه. بعضی وقت ادارات که هستن اقتصادشان که هستن داون میشه یا ضعیف میشه. این تاثیراتی که در اقتصاد ادارات وارد میشه این مستقیما که هستن سر اداره تاثیر داره. So that's why we say that the economical factors also can be the cause that the organization has to bring the changes. Recently it happens. The crisis in the world which is occurring due to the coronavirus, so most of the companies they brought kind of change even in the salaries of the teachers in the institutes or universities or even in other sectors, because of what that the companies they ran out of the resources. While they're running out of the resources economically, they are just weak and down, so that's why they have to bring those changes. So last time in USA or in Japan there was like economic crisis. So while the economic crises are happening, the organizations they have to just reduce their activities or their operations. So these changes in their operations whenever it happens, so due to the factor of economic problems. External reasons. Number 4, globalization in competition. طوری که ما میدانیم که فعلا business که از بالکل globalized شده. It means each company or organization from any part of the world, they can produce their products and services in any market of the world. In the past it was kind of monopoly. در یک جای یک شرکت یا یک اداره می بود و تولید میکرد و تولید و مشتریای خود داشتن. But nowadays, the competition is just on a high note, right? And it's a very kind of complex competition. دیگه از خاطر مختلف companies که هستن in the world, they have like their production in their operations in different markets. External reason ये कि globalization हमेशा कि ज़माने की globalization मेशा competition بسیار زیاد میشه، سریع میشه، زیاد complex competition می باشه. از این خاطر همیشه organization باید ready باشه تا که changes adopt کنه، successfully changes adopt کنه و باید به level market خدا همیشه آماده بسازن. Globalization affects business in many different ways. With globalization and liberalization, any organization in any part of the world can manufacture, process and sell its products or services to other parts. That is liberalized. The business applications of globalization are that a firm that had monopoly. قبل ما سرزی موضوع بحث کردیم. Changing customers' need and preference. True. Customers need, want, demand و preference و attitude و هستن همیشه ثابت نمیمانه. تغییر میآید. It means once a customer uses a mobile phone, for the next time definitely changing that. So it means change happens. Change is something like it happens even in the customer need, in taste or in wants, with the availability of variety of the products. So زمانی که ما میبینیم که در مارکت مختلف نوع products موجود هستند با customers یک نوع option میده، wide range of option میده برشان. So that's why once they use something, next time they're trying something else. Their need and preferences are changing. And that change in the preference or need of the customers is also just improving or helping the organization in order to bring change. अगर ये change organization न बियारा, तो उनके competition level بسیار زیاد از the market. So that's why we say that a change should be brought in order to meet the competitive level in the market. اگر شما یا مثال یکی داره دا پروداکت خود یا دا سرویسز خود تغییر نمیاره و او را با اساس تقاضای کستومر خود نسازه و دیگه ادارات ای چینج میاره. So definitely you're losing your market shares. Now coming to the internal factors, بعضی مشکلات داخلی می باشه یا فاکتورهای داخلی هستن که هم ارگانایزیشن مجبور به تغییر میاره. Internal factors are those issues which arise inside the organization. این مشکلات در داخل اداره می باشه و همیشه در کنترل منیجمنت می باشه. Such as employee turnover issue. Employees turnover میکنه، معنا اداره را ترک میکنه، وظیفه را ترک میکنه. So while you are leaving some of the employees in the other you are going to hire, it needs a process. Once you hire those employees, you need to train them. They have to just adopt to the organizational culture, to learn about the organization. These changes need to be adopted. Financial problems میتونه که اداره با بحران مالی روبرو شود. زمانی که با بحران مالی روبرو میشه definitely bringing change in their policies and strategies. A span of control measure, sometimes it happens that the hierarchical levels of the management are changing, the authorities are changing. In these problems are within the control of the management. یک مدیر باید این تمام نقاط به شکل مفید و مؤثر مدیریت کنه. The internal factors ما شما میخوانیم که کدام internal factors هستن. Corporate strategy یک اداره میتونه که تغییر شود. Organizational design and structure تغییر میشه. System dynamics, workforce و employee attitudes تغییر میشه. So let's discuss these points in details. So corporate strategy. At first, we have to learn what's a corporate strategy. A corporate strategy is a strategy which is designed or created or implemented for the whole business, for the success, development, or for the business, that it shows the direction of the business. Corporate strategy طوری که شما در strategic management خواندین این به تمام overall well-being, development یا stability of a whole business جور میشه. It means تمام product line که مد نظر میگیره. خب زمانی که the corporate strategy که یک internal factor است تغییر میآید. So definitely the organization has to adopt that change. It is not unusual for an organization to change its strategy. یعنی ادارات که strategy خدا تغییر میده. It can lead. For example, اگر ما مثال بتیم, so iPhone had at first its phone, so then they developed the iPads. What they did, they use a growth strategy. So the growth strategy is a type of corporate strategy. वो خواستن कि business خود expand کنه and develop the business more. So changes of the organization decide to adopt a new distribution methodology. میتونه که داره distribution methodology یا distribution channel خود change کنه. Like for example, we have two types of channels, like a direct channel and also the indirect channel. So the organization are just looking for the best in the best possible channel which help the organization to have like to control cost, to have more quality, and also to have more direct interaction with the customers. Organizational design and structure. It means که اداره که از the structure خود تغییر میاره. We know that ادارات هستن مختلف structures داره یا مختلف تشکیل اداری داره. So they may have like a tall structure, they may have like a flat structure, like a matrix structure. So بعضی وقت اداره number of employees کم میکنه یا number of employees increase میکنه، زیاد میکنه. So it's all about یا organization خود centralize میکنه که تمام decisions که همراه top level management می باشه. They are the responsible for making the decisions, or sometimes they are just breaking the structure into a decentralized structure. So these are the factors که در داخل design یا structure اداره که تغییر میآید. این تغییر هم باید مدیریت شود و این تغییری هستن که inside the organization it happens. Third, technology and equipment. قبل ما ذکر کردیم the external factor که technology تغییر میشه. So when organization adopts the technological development, introduces a newer technology. خب زمانی که یک اداره technological development میکنه، معنا یک تکنولوژی نو introduce میکنه. این تکنولوژی نو که introduce میشه مشکلات که از به بار میاره به کارمندا هم، چرا که کارمندا هم رایشان آشنایی خاص داشته نمی باشه. They do not know how to operate the newer technology. So the managers, they have to give trainings to the employees in order to make them understand about the working processes. In شاید بعضی وقت که employee rotation قرار میگیره که یک employee را از یک پست به دیگه پست change میکنه. خب माना हमरा टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस की में आए द इदारा द सिस्टम या द स्ट्रक्चर इदारा हम कैस तغییر में आए शायद बाजू कारमंदा बाशा कि बई सिस्टम हिच आशनाई ना दस्ता बाशा so the organization have to hire more stuff. So these are the changes that internally it happens, or these changes happen because of the internal factors. The fourth one is the workforce. Okay, so workforce means like the employees of the organization. Workforce of the organization is also altering or changing. ये तगीरात शायद the education level of the employees सूरत भी गिरा, या शायद some of the employees they're leaving the organization, some others are coming. Maybe it might be like a change in the gender. For example, one employee left the job, like a male was replaced by a female gender. So these changes in the workforce environment are also the external factors कि इदारा वादार या मजबूर भाई में साजा के बाद तगीर भी आ रहा है. तगीर माना the work भी आ रहा है, वजीफा रहा बाद दोबारा बरश के like redesign करना. So changes can occur in the job policies, in the job requirements. Change can happen. So these are the external factors which cause changes in the workforce. Employee attitude. So employee attitude, as we all know that, right? It's like employee may show two types of attitude, like they are like showing satisfaction from their job, or sometimes they are not satisfied from their job, so they are showing kind of negativity or showing dissatisfaction. So if the employees are not satisfied from their job, or they're not showing like a good attitude for a change, so it's also like an internal factor that the managers should control the situation or manage the situation in a better way or in a positive way. Thank you very much for listening to the lecture. If you have any question or comment, so please inbox me.